got a message from the universe about a year or so ago, and I'd like to segue that into the question, if you don't mind. I was walking along in Benicia, and I had what they call a syncope. I fainted. I lost consciousness. And all that, went to the hospital and so on.
Now that's scary.
Yeah.
This is fun.
This is more fun for sure. So why did that happen? That was the beginning of a spiritual journey for me. I think that's one of the reasons I'm looking for I'm opening myself up to validation about that, because I think what happened was I was losing my way, and I think I got a message from my inner self that said, what you're doing right now is not working. The physical thing which
is sort of a continuation of what we've just been talking about, isn't it? That when I have enough contradiction going on within me, someone used the word yesterday, the word stuck.
Yes.
And we say, you can't be stuck, but if you're being pulled this way and then you're pulling back that way, even though energy's always in motion, it gives you the sensation of stuck. So contradiction within yourself does sort of wear you down to a halt.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I want a deeper connection with life. I want a spiritual, a much deeper spiritual connection.
One of the things that we want to stick in here, because this will soothe what's at the very basis of your question, and then we want to hear more from you. But as you listen to us talking about this contrast, we know it's annoying and tiring, this contrast, but it is a basis of life, a chosen basis of life, and it serves us all very well. Right. So this contrast, which causes you to ask for something, if you don't find a way of moving in the direction of it, then resistance is the experience, and it's unpleasant.
Right.
But then resisting what you're asking for, now the contrast is greater, so you ask for it even more.
Right.
It's sort of like when you ask your children to take the garbage out and they don't do it, the next time you ask them, it's louder. And if they still don't do it, the next time you ask it, it's louder, until the stakes get higher and higher, until you want to put them in the garbage. In other words, but so what we're getting at is, each time that you ask and don't allow yourself to go, then you ask stronger and still don't allow yourself to go, and you ask stronger and still don't allow yourself to go, until eventually your asking is so strong that in a moment of distraction, or giving up, as our friend said earlier, in a moment of distraction, your desire is so powerful that in your distraction you are drawn to the desire. It's like, people call it a quantum leap, and we say they're not sustainable, but they almost always wake you up. So there are two messages that we want to give to you around this. First is, it can never go so wrong that the asking ceases, and as long as the asking is still happening, then the answering is still happening too. But sometimes if you are not listening to someone like us, if you're not paying attention to the way you feel, if you're not closing the gap almost as quickly as you widen the gap, then it's possible to get such a gap between what you're asking for and where you're hanging around, that then something more extreme happens. And that's what you're talking about here. Now, you want to call that a message from the universe, and we want to say there were lots of messages from the universe, but you aren't in the habit of listening to the subtle ones. You want to wait till something big gets your attention. And a lot of you are that way. You've been trained not to listen to the messages from your source. Almost everybody you know says, don't do what will make you feel better. Do what makes me feel better. And if you care about them, you try to do what makes them feel better, until eventually you train yourself to disregard your gap altogether, while you're jumping through hoops for that one and 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 that one. And it isn't until finally there's too many of them to please that you even decide to stop doing that, you see. So the message from the universe to you is, and always has been, You are the creator of your reality, and when you ask for something, you owe it to yourself to find a way to move in the direction of it. And when you don't, pretty soon there's going to be some sort of happening that's going to show you that you've got your stream moving really. It's the story we tell. If your car's going 5 miles an hour and you hit a tree, it's not a big problem. But when your car's going 100 miles an hour and you hit a tree, it gets your attention. And you say, oh, that must be a message from the universe.
Right. Right. So there it is.
But look at how much you now know. In other words, do you think the universe is trying to get you to do some specific thing? Or do you understand that the universe just wants you to allow yourself to have the things that life has helped you carve out that you want?
Yes. So why am I sitting in this chair? Because the contrast between where I am and where I want to be seems very powerful.
Big? It
feels big.
Like a long way?
Yeah, you've been talking about resistance, and I will own that I am resisting.
But here's the thing that this will help you. You see, if you're in the vortex, and you get the concept of that.
Yeah.
If you're in the vortex, everything seems and is simple. If you're outside of the vortex, everything seems and is difficult.
Right.
So, for example, when Esther is outside the vortex relative to the computer, because it's been giving her grief for a while,
right.
When she's outside the vortex, she cannot find the solution. It's invisible to her. So she's got to get in the vortex before she can find the solution to that. She's got to get in the vortex. But the thing is, so Esther's been in the vortex a lot. She's in the vortex more than she's not in the vortex. So she's in the vortex until she thinks about her computer, and then she comes right out.
Right.
Then she's in the vortex till she thinks about that computer, and then she comes right out.
Right.
So she's got to find a way of being in the vortex while she thinks about her computer. Or every time she thinks about the computer, she's going to come back out. She can't get there from there. You can only get to the solutions you seek when you're inside the vortex. It's a really good conversation we're having, because we're doing the best sales job ever to make you want to be in the vortex, period. And the thing that if you could say, I want to be in the vortex just because it feels good to be in there, not because I want to be in the vortex to find the solution, hear the difference. I like to be in the vortex. This is Esther. I like to be in the vortex because it's so good to be in there. It feels like clarity and confidence. I love being in the vortex. And I really like the idea of being in the vortex so that I can find a solution to my computer problem.
Right. Yeah, and okay, so...
So what we want, Esther and you, and you, and you, and you, what we want you to do, we want you to be in the vortex, not for the ulterior reason of fixing problems. We want you to be in the vortex because that's what's natural to you.
So wanting spiritual experience is still a tool, or it's still an external thing.
I want to be in connection with my source, period.
Right.
Not because,
right.
but because it's natural, because anything else is unnatural, because that's when I feel the best, because that's who I am, because I must be who life has caused me to be. And we think that you could even put those into very definitive words. You want your own expansion. You've been saying this for a long time. You were saying it long before you had that message from the universe.
Yeah.
So many of you question your reason for being and question your value for being. It's like, without meaning to, you diminish your sense of worthiness, which is so contrary to who you really are and what you really feel. So we give you words such as, try, no matter what the subject is that you're approaching, try to imagine what Source's view, what the view of Source, what the opinion of Source. How is Source seeing that? I want to see you, Esther, I want to see that computer through the eyes of Source. I want to see that computer through the eyes of Source. I want to see that computer through the eyes of Source. Now, she can look just over the computer. I want to see that man through the eyes of Source. That's easy. That's easy. That's so easy to see Jerry through the eyes of Source. Computer, Not so easy. It's been letting her down. Jerry doesn't let her down. Well, there was that one time. The computer, I want to see it through the eyes of Source. Well, how does Source see it? It's a magnificent machine. It has added immeasurably to her life experience. The platform of computers that Esther has purchased and programmed and experienced have leveraged their time and energy enormously. Esther loves the feeling of the computer in her hands. She loves the fact that she's trained herself at high rates of speed. She loves the intuitive nature of the computer. In other words, as she attempts to see the computer through the eyes of Source, Source is smart enough not to talk about the peak program at first. In other words, we'll talk about it in a way that she can feel it until before long, she's thinking about that computer through the eyes of Source. And then she's in the vortex thinking about something that was a former problem. But now it's not a former problem because now she's thinking about it through the eyes of Source. You're sort of kind of getting what we're getting at?
Not yet, though I am a Mac person. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the problem is, just occurred to me.
That's the problem right there.
Oh no! Here's what I'm doing that I want to stop doing, and that is, I'm seeing spiritual experience as a duty.
We know, and that's why we use words like it's fun and it's natural and it's joyful and it's who you really are, and when you croak, it'll be natural because so let's work on that. We can give you some things that will help you with that. Yeah. So in the same way that we were talking to our friend earlier about her work, it's not, you didn't come to this life experience to explore contrast in a feeling of responsibility. You came because of the joyful adventure of it.
Right.
And you're not exploring contrast because it needs to be explored. You're exploring it because you want to explore it. And you're not giving birth to rockets of desires because you have to. You're doing it because you want to. And you're not evolving as source energy because you're supposed to or because you need to. You're doing it because it is natural and because it is the most delicious, because expansion is so delicious. And the source energy you doesn't exist as a mocking, no, I'm in the vortex and you're not.
Right.
It exists as the natural culmination of the becoming of all that is. Right. And the most natural thing in the world is for you to be there with it, and the most unnatural thing in the world is for you to not be there with it. So it isn't that you're supposed to do it. It's that you want to and that it's natural. But the reason that you translate it in that way is because when you're not doing it, it bites you. And most people do most of what they do from motivation rather than inspiration. Let's talk about the difference. The difference between inspiration is your source is here calling you, and when you're not doing that thing you do, then you feel the call and you come. That's inspired. Don't you love to be inspired? Don't you love that invigorating feeling of enthusiasm for something? Motivation is, I'm over here and I want to be over there and I don't know how to get over there, so would somebody please just prod me in the direction of over there? And almost everybody does it. They tell you need medical treatment by showing you how scary it is if you don't. They tell you that if you don't buy their insurance that your world will come to an end. Interesting. The insurance world sort of did come to an end, didn't it? All that they've been telling all of you has finally come back to them.
We were just discussing at lunch, if it's not fun, don't do it. And I was kind of saying, well, that's not really true. which is amusing.
We agree. But it's nice that you're putting it into that perspective. In other words, most of you have been just feeling so very responsible about who you are that you've just made life a challenge and a chore and a struggle. And that's so off, and you can feel it's off, and the more you do it, the more the struggle is. Well, we think that you have identified all of this clearly. What you've spoken back to us in clarity, we think you get this. And now, just like everybody, including Esther, it's a matter of just practicing it until you're consistently up to speed with who you really are. Excellent.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Stand if you think it's you.